Are we looking at the most elite rookie running back class, at least from a skill position perspective, that we've ever seen? Will this 2024 NFL draft class feed fantasy football one top 3 tight end, maybe the number 1 overall tight end in fantasy a year from today? 1, 2, 3 at least, and we need to talk about this guy. 3 top 12 wide receivers, 2 of which could be top 8, 1 of which could be number 1, 2, or 3 overall. And are we looking at, in my opinion, the 2 best quarterbacks from this draft class? Are we looking at Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix Jr. both becoming top 12 NFL quarterbacks, but also potentially fantasy? We don't even have running backs. We don't even have running backs on the screen. We don't even have running backs as options unless Trey Benson or Braylon Allen or my favorite, Jalen Wright, lands in Dallas. And then we got another big name player to talk about, but we don't even have a single running back on screen. And I'm still telling you, this might be the most amazing rookie class to feed fantasy football production we've ever seen. JD5 visits with the Patriots today. He's going to visit with the Commanders next week. The fantasy football show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
JD5, let's start off with JD5, met with the New England Patriots today, and of course they're obviously in the running for JD5, but JD5 is probably going to the Commanders at number 2 overall if I had to guess. Because, and why do I say that? Because I have a lot of reason to believe it. Number 1, first and foremost, he's my number 1 quarterback in this entire draft class. Caleb's not even near the top 2. Not even near. And I believe in Adam Peters. I believe Adam Peters knows ball. I believe Kingsbury knows ball. I believe the 2 combined will know what to do and know what time it is when it comes time to draft a quarterback that's going to be the future of this Washington Commander football team. And I like Drake May. I'm not saying he's bad. I love Penix Jr., obviously. I think even Penix Jr. would be phenomenal in that. It actually be amazing in a Kingsbury Arsenal type passing attack. But JD5 is the clear number 1 overall player. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr. really number 1 overall players in this draft class, probably tied for me in terms of ability to turn a franchise around. And when we're talking skill position, even if we're not talking skill position, JD5 and Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'm very honest about this. Sauce Gardner was one of the best players, if not the best player in his draft class. I talked about that all the time. I'm not all offense, but I'll tell you right now, Marvin Harrison Jr., JD5, head and shoulders above everybody else. Head and shoulders above everybody else. Neighbors and Adunze can get there with the right landing spot and the not so great landing spot for Marvin Harrison Jr. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the fact that the Chicago Bears don't understand JD5's the top quarterback makes me smile, makes me happy, because Chicago, when's the last time Chicago developed anybody? Chicago doesn't develop quarterbacks. They don't do it. They don't do it. They won't do it. And they're bringing in the quarterback that has the most character concerns, the most concerns and roadblocks and hurdles to potential leapfrog over. And who do they bring in to be this problem solver? Shane Waldron. Seattle, Shane Waldron. Let's bring in a very vanilla offense and potential offensive coordinator. Not saying he's horrible, not saying he can't thrive in the right environment, but Shane Waldron is your wizard that you're bringing in to fix Caleb, because Caleb isn't ready. I know everybody wants him to be. I know Chicago Bear fans want him to be. This is not a guy ready to walk into the Chicago Bear locker room and lead all these men to victory. You know who is? JD5. You know who bleeds confidence? JD5. You know who believes and is the best player on the field, any field he steps on? JD5. You know who's going to be the number 1 looked up to player the moment he steps on the field? JD5 in Washington. And who's surrounded by a absolute arsenal offensive attack built by a guy that knows how to do that. Okay, you can rip on Kingsbury all you want, what he didn't do in Arizona, what he did do in Arizona, but the guy knows how to construct and architect an offense. This to me is very much like Shanahan. Kingsbury and Shanahan are amazing offensive coordinators. Maybe they're just not good head coaches. Maybe they can become good head coaches over time. I'm not saying it's all gone and there's no chance for either one of them. Shanahan is only a great offensive coordinator. He's not a great head coach. Is he a horrible head coach? No. But is he a great one? No, he's not. Is he an amazing offensive coordinator? Yes. Why do the Niners keep winning and getting to a certain point and then they fail? Shanahan's one of the best offensive coordinators in the National Football League. And that overshadows a lot of the deficiencies he brings to the table. Kingsbury, same thing. No one's asking Kingsbury to be the head coach in Washington. He gets to focus on architecting an offense, and JD5 is the likely guy to become that quarterback, that lucky QB that gets to run all over the league from the jump. That lucky QB that is somehow doubted enough to fall to the number 2 or number 3 overall draft selection. Now, I will say that I think New England's not the greatest landing spot, but it does remind me of Indy a little bit, that AR5, because of his ability to carry a team with his legs and figure out how to survive. He would do kind of similar in New England that AR5 is doing or did in Indy, the amount of time that we saw it. But Washington would be a whole new ball game. You've got McLaurin, you've got Dotson, you've got a whole arsenal attack, and you've got an offensive-minded OC in Kingsbury. So this is a fantastic situation. So there is a difference in terms of what we get out of JD5 year 1 in Washington and what we get out of JD5 year 1 in New England, and what we get out of JD5 in Chicago. And I believe JD5 would have the best chance of succeeding in Chicago. But it's kind of funny. Calvin, welcome to the YouTube exclusive membership, pal. Calvin just subscribed. If anybody else wants to become a YouTube exclusive member, all you got to do is click that join button like Calvin did. Calvin to the moon. Calvin, appreciate you becoming
to the moon.
A YouTube exclusive member, son. Let's get to it. Let's get right to the meat and potatoes. Actually, we got the 2 pieces of news because this is the news show. We are on the news screen. And again, Jaden Daniels is scheduled to visit next week, Monday, Tuesday, with the Washington Commanders per his agent. And this will, I believe, be his ultimate landing spot. Today, he visited with the New England Patriots. We had word that Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday was in New York. Did anybody get confirmation if he was visiting the New York Giants, or was he visiting the Buffalo Bills? which I believe the Buffalo Bills. I've been saying it from the beginning, and we even got people that come in here and say it was obvious, my call of Diggs getting not only released, but them, going and upgrading into a younger, reset version of Stephon Diggs. But now we got that guy earlier. It was like, Smitty, that was easy to see coming, that they would take on the dead cap hit of Diggs, even though they already said they weren't going to release him. Buffalo, phase 1 of my prediction is true. It came true, and it was the tougher of the 2 phases to actually get accomplished, which was the release of Stephon Diggs, the dead cap hit of Stephon Diggs. He is gone. Buffalo might be happy with Leggett or A.D. Mitchell, Malachi Corley, a handful, Keon Coleman, a handful of wide receivers that would be really good fits here. I'm not saying they're bad wide receivers whatsoever, but I have a suspicion that is parallel and attached to my Diggs is going to be gone no matter what Buffalo says. Remember, Buffalo already came out, Smitty, and said they're not trading Diggs. They're going to go forward with them. Yeah, and I said, what did I say on that live stream? Just wait. One tweet, one small tweet, and Diggs is gone. And what did he do? He hit Twitter, a.k.a. X, and he was gone almost instantly, within 24 hours. What in the hell happened there? Huh? I have a stinking suspicion. A stinking, sneaky, bold suspicion that the Buffalo Bills are going to trade aggressively into the top 15 overall to get their hands on at least a Brian Thomas Jr., hopefully an Odunze. And let me make something abundantly clear. Rock out, when did you become a member? 10 years ago. Abundantly clear. This is the number one wide receiver in the draft class. If he lands in Buffalo, Rome Odunze, and let's say Neighbors and Harrison Jr. land in mediocre, murky, cloudy spots. You can say what you want. You can get mad at me all you want. That's how good he is. That's how good all three of these guys are. Just because Neighbors on paper, physical skill set alone, just evaluating these guys without landing spots, just because this guy is the number one, him and Daniels tied for the number one prospect in the entire draft, including defensive players, everything. Just because these guys are the most generational doesn't mean these guys aren't also generational. Odunze would be the number one overall wide receiver taken in any other draft. Neighbors would be the number one wide receiver taken in any other draft. If Neighbors goes to the most elite spot and Harrison Jr. and Odunze go to murky waters, guess who's number one? Neighbors. If Odunze goes to the best spot and Neighbors and Harrison go to mediocre spots, guess who's number one? Odunze. I don't know in terms of dynasty that I would move Harrison Jr. I think he will survive and thrive later, but that doesn't mean this guy can't be both dynasty and redraft the number one player number one player from this draft class if he lands in the most ideal spot, like Buffalo, like Indy, like Arizona, if Arizona were to trade down and find their way into an Odunze drafting situation. All three of these guys, Neighbors, Harrison Jr., and Odunze, could all be top 10 wide receivers at the National Football League level. All three of them could be top 10 fantasy football wide receivers in fantasy football in one calendar year. You heard me straight. I didn't stutter. I didn't hesitate. I told you how I feel. And how I feel is we are looking at, and you don't hear me throwing all rookies in. A lot of people say, Smitty, you love rookies. Why do I not talk about one single rookie running back ever? If I love rookies so much only, if that's some kind of biased take I have, why am I not forcing a rookie running back right now? I won't until we get landing spots because it is a mediocre to good class with a couple good players, Jalen Wright being my favorite, Braylon Allen being a fantastic option, Trey Benson being amazing if in the right spot. These are not amazing players in the wrong spot. One of them will probably be a good to great player, probably not, I would say, amazing. I'll dial that amazing comment back. It's good to great because they're good. Good running back turns great in a great environment. There's only one really great environment, Dallas. Dallas will be the kingmaker of the RBs, but I don't talk about RBs ever. I talk about wide receivers. I talk about this man, Brock Bowers, who's a Mars man, I might add.
He's on a shuttle to Mars.
Look at him.
Mars man.
Look at him. This is a guy
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
that in one calendar year could be the number one overall fantasy football tight end. And I'm not saying Laporta's not going to be right with him. I'm not saying he will be. There's a very good chance he is the next Travis Kelce, the next Rob Gronkowski, the next Tony Gonzalez combination. Plays a lot like Gronk. Reminds me of Gronk. Someone said Gronk and Gonzo. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with whatever combination you want to throw out there. But Brock Bowers has the abilities, the best tight end prospect to ever come out. And I don't want to hear anything like, I don't know, like Smitty, Kyle Pitts proved that you can't trust the blah, blah, blah process of this guy's the best tight end. Look how that turned out, Smitty. Everything should be brought over from one season to the next. Everything is case by case. Everything is case by case. Everything. In this particular case, the curious case of Benjamin Bowers, a.k.a. Brock Bowers, Benjamin Button reference if you don't know what time it is. Bowers is going to absolutely explode from the jump. This is Sam Laporta 2.0 in terms of having a monster explosive rookie campaign. Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Dalton Kincaid, Brock Bowers. That's the future at the tight end position in fantasy football. And you could argue Kincaid's 2, 3, 4. You could argue McBride's 2, 3, 4. You could say 1. Definitely could say 1. You could argue that Laporta's not going to relinquish the number 1 tight end ranking spot for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. You could say that too. Not here to debate any of that. I'm here to merely tell you that this guy could be the number 1 overall tight end by a landslide, walking out of his rookie year, watching him play like Laporta did his rookie year. Some ups and downs. Rookie tight ends, rookie wide receivers always hit a rookie wall. Why is that? They're used to a short college season, right around weeks 11, 12, 13, 10, week 9, 10 sometimes, but weeks 12, 11, 13, these guys take a little bit of a lull, a little bit of a dump right on the season, and then they don't do anything for about 2, 1, 3 games. It's a rookie wall. The wall could be 2, 3 weeks deep. It could be a thick rookie wall. It could be a 1 week rookie wall. It's dependent on the player, depending on how much they played in the beginning of the year. So do expect Bowers to hit a rookie wall. All rookies hit a rookie wall. Jamar Chase hit a very long 4 or 5 week rookie wall where I said trade for him, trade for him, trade for him. Every week, trade for him, trade for him, trade for him. Smitty, I'm beginning to lose hope. I've been trading for Jamar Chase, and he's not bouncing back. Trust me. Trust me, he'll win you a league. Trust me. And I started to get worried myself because this rookie wall was a 4-week deep rookie wall for Jamar Chase. He came out of that wall and exploded. All the good ones do. As soon as they break through the rookie wall, the good ones go back into a course of greatness, a trajectory that you cannot take away from them. They're uncontrollably great, and they just go exploding out of the rookie wall like a rocket ship to the moon or Saturn.
To Saturn.
And I believe this guy is going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal, regardless of that rookie wall. This guy is going to be phenomenal. He's JJ in a way. He could survive really any quarterback situation, but survive is not what we want. We want him to flourish. We want him jumping into the NFL, running, and having an explosion fest as a rookie with a good quarterback. But maybe he goes to the Giants. Maybe he goes to another situation. We don't know. All we know is the Cardinals said today, or the Cardinals didn't say today. A reporter and a few reports said today, I'm sorry. Let me correct the record. That the Cardinals are only interested in moving the number 4 overall pick if it came at the cost of getting 3 first-round picks. So you get a trade down of some sort, right? You get maybe the 4 moved down to the 11 in the case of the Minnesota Vikings, right? And then you request 2 additional first-rounders, the 23 and a 2025 first. Now, someone's going to say this before I even get done talking. Smitty, no one's going to do that. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're hoping for, Bob. Nobody's going to do that is what we're going for. That is kind of where we insert comment in chat. Well, I guess he's a Cardinal, and that's where I say stand up and let's applaud.
Mashed potatoes.
Okay? We're not upset at the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Cardinal. We're not upset at that at all. That's where he needs to go. The best landing spot for a wide receiver, a rookie wide receiver, is the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray in an empty wide receiver room that will be throwing the ball and slinging it all over the place. Now, someone might say the Chargers, Smitty, the Chargers are the best spot because I want neighbors to go there. The Chargers are a good spot, but they're not better than the Cardinals. Close the trap. Look what Harbaugh's doing right now. He's even reorganizing the locker room by alphabetical order. You can't even sit where you want. He's taking the college game and bringing it straight into the pros. You can't even sit where you want. He's got assigned seats inside the locker room. And you can come in and defend that and say, oh, that's going to create camaraderie. I like it and all that. I think that the try and attempt to make this a college football team, the taking Keenan Allen and sending him packing for a ham sandwich, the not drafting a big name running back and going after Gus Bus, his brother's running back, looking at J.K. Dobbins in Baltimore, his other brother's running back. He's drafting 4, 5, 6 Michigan players. Blake Corum's coming in. We know that. Gus Bus, Blake Corum. And what wide receiver does he bring in? Everyone says at 5 he's drafting wide receiver. He might. Brock Bowers could go 5. I kind of think Brock Bowers, and I love that because there's so many vacated targets in LAC. But Brock Bowers is somebody that I really, really want to go to the Chargers because no matter what Harbaugh does, even if he wants to run the ball, heavy run, defense, slow the clock down, play college football, it's still okay because there's so many targets to go around. Brock Bowers will eat. Neighbors will eat. It's a great landing spot. But Herbert will not be airing it out like Kyler Murray will. Herbert will not be throwing as much as I think everybody wants because we're seeing evidence of how Harbaugh is going to take this team and turn it into something a little bit different than fantasy football owners. Doesn't mean it's horrible. It just means that if Neighbors doesn't land in this situation, I don't know that I want to own anybody or Brock Bowers land in this situation. I'll own Brock, obviously. I love him in LAC. I love Neighbors in LAC. I love Odunze in LAC. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. in LAC. But LAC is not better than the Arizona Cardinals. That landing spot, that is not a biased take. I never talk Cardinals. I always say that I'm more critical of the Cardinals, that I am supportive of them on this channel, and I'll always remain that way. But from an unbiased lens, the Cardinal landing spot is, well, really the number 2. I'll be even more unbiased. Number 2, even though I love the Bills. The Bills, number 1 landing spot for a wide receiver. Cardinals, number 2. Of the most likely to get Marvin Harrison Jr., Odunze, and Neighbors, because the Bills are currently sitting at 28, the Cardinals are the best landing spot in fantasy football, period. In the NFL, period. It's not close. The Chargers are a good second place. There are other landing spots that I absolutely do love, like the Indianapolis Colts would be a great spot for one of these wide receivers. There are a lot of other situations we don't love here. There are a lot of situations I don't love. But what I can tell you is this. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to cost, according to the reports right now, this could change, but Monty Austin-Ford's very eager to he's an eager beaver to trade this pick away. He is, but if his asking price stays true to form, from what we're hearing, 3 first-round picks, Arizona Cardinals are Marvin Harrison Jr.'s landing spot, and he's going to Saturn. So mark it down, do it live. Brock Bowers, top 1, 2, or 3 tight end of the future. Rome Odunze, top 8 wide receiver in fantasy football of the future. Maybe even better than that, depends on the landing spot. Marvin Harrison Jr., top 1 to 4 wide receiver in fantasy football in the NFL. Depends on his landing spot. Neighbors, top 6 to 12 wide receiver in the NFL and in fantasy. Depends on his landing spot. Wild card, Brian Thomas Jr., BT. Where does he go? If he goes to Buffalo, quietly a top 12 potential wide receiver in fantasy and the NFL. Jaden Daniels may be the next Lamar Jackson, possibly a top 5 to 7, maybe higher, maybe even 3 to 7. You could say 3 to 7. Quarterback in the NFL and in fantasy. Nothing you can expect. These are lofty expectations. I get that. Bold take? Yeah, I get that. Locked and guaranteed? No, it's not. But is he a top, we'll call him 3 to 7 potential NFL and fantasy football quarterback option? He sure is. Penix Jr. on the lower end of a 6 to 12 NFL quarterback possibility? Sure. Like higher upside? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Depends where he goes. Penix Jr. top 6 to 12 fantasy football potential? Quite possibly. Thomas Jr., Penix Jr. on the lower end of these predictions. I get that. You know, I'm not an idiot, or at least a total idiot. That's how I view these guys, but you're looking at one of the most elite, and you throw Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, Jalen Wright, whoever ends up going to Dallas, or another crafty, unforeseen landing spot for running backs. We'll throw that player on here. You're looking at one of the most gifted classes of NFL rookies being handed to the NFL and fantasy football we've ever seen. And I'm absolutely here for it. Absolutely.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes! Yeah, buddy.
Would love to know your thoughts. Would love to throw your comments on screen. Hit the thumb up button on your way in the door. Hit the thumb up button on the way in the door. Appreciate you all. Real question is, should we be debating whether Harrison is willing to trade, or Harbaugh is willing to trade out of the 5th pick? He's already, you don't know what he's going to do. He's certainly capable of trading out of the pick, Jeff. No doubt about it. He's certainly capable. I would say the odds of Neighbors getting drafted at 5 are less than 50% right now when you factor in the other percentage, let's say 50% of trade or Bowers or offensive line, I would say drafting Neighbors at number 5 feels like at best 33 to 40% chance. Like one could say trading out 33%, drafting Neighbors 33%, drafting offensive line 33%. Even if it's the other side of the line, they don't have to take Joe Alt. Everybody's comments always like, they already have that side of the line covered, Smitty. They're not going to draft Alt. They don't need to draft Alt. We use Joe Alt as the staple of the offensive line class. But to be honest with you, there are so many amazing offensive linemen in this class. You could trade down, which is to talk to Jeff's comment, might be smarter because Joe Alt feels like the guy that should go number 4 or 5 if someone's going to go that high. So you trade down 1 or 2 spots, gain a little value somewhere. Giants are hoping Smitty is right. Vegas says Chargers draft a wide receiver or trade down. Yeah, Vegas also, thought that Fields was going to the Atlanta Falcons. So Vegas is not good at predicting where a player goes. Vegas is all about how many transactions they can get on each side of a line, because they don't care about the accuracy of these types of predictions. They care about moving that line and getting something out there that will get interest so that people will jump on both sides. They're all about the vig in the middle. So don't let that influence you at all. They're not in the prediction of where a guy goes game. That's not something. Predicting the score of a game, they're very good at predicting. Why? Because the line is moved by the people. The people are actually deciding what the score of the game is, because they're jumping on both sides of this, trying to make this an even scale. That's how Vegas works. Neighbors or Odunze would be the best wide receiver Daniel Jones has played with in his career. I think they get one. They very well could. It depends on if Neighbors was to fall. If Neighbors didn't fall, then the Giants are faced with, do we get Penix Jr. or do we go with the Odunze and draft or address quarterback later? The Giants were foolish to not go after Justin Fields. I don't know why they didn't go after Justin Fields and then use the 6th pick on Neighbors or Odunze. I don't know why the New England Patriots didn't go after Justin Fields and use the 3 pick on Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know why the Washington Commanders, even though I love JD5, didn't go after Fields and draft Marvin Harrison Jr. number 2. If I was a GM of any of those teams, I would have done those things. I would have absolutely smashed to pieces everybody in the entire National Football League with the comeback kid Justin Fields, who's going to do amazing things in Pittsburgh. And you can at me all you want. I'll be here for you. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here all year. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Appreciate Perps and Ray G for being the top super chatters of the year so far. This section we're going to change and make something different here. This is brought to you by Grindhouse, the phone line moving forward, and we'll create something else for everybody else. Presented by Grindhouse. So dial into the Grindhouse phone line, ladies and gentlemen. Grindhouse is an amazing clothing apparel company. Go to grindhouse.com, GRNDHAUS, or Grindhouse Supply on IG. We've got them back this year. Very excited about that. Dial into the Grindhouse phone line.
Live from
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I'm trying to grab the Grindhouse logo so that I can put it on this screen, and it's like not. Hold on, let's try one more time.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
There we go. Presented by Grindhouse. Dial on in. Phone line's open. Phone line's open. Phone line is open. I'm going to move Odunze down a little bit so I can make room for the phone line. Penix Jr., I'm sorry, bro. I'm going to put you in the corner here. And Odunze's coming down. There we go. Dial in, dial in, dial in. Your boy's here to answer the call. Yeah, keep saying Fields sucks, everybody. Keep doing it. Keep blaming him for Chicago, and then watch what watch what Caleb Williams doesn't do in Chicago, and watch what Justin Fields does in Pittsburgh. Just wait. I don't wish for anybody to do bad at the NFL level. I'm always rooting for all the rookies. I'm never wanting anybody to bust. I didn't want Jimmy G to be a bad player. I was just predicting it. It's what I feel is going to happen. But the fact that we're sitting here talking about Caleb Williams being a superstar, and the only thing that can maybe even remotely save him from a fantasy perspective would be if Chicago does take like a Dunze here. Then he's going to have an amazing opportunity to score some fantasy points, but will he win? Fields did well with DJ Moore and scored fantasy points, but they still got rid of him and couldn't win games. Prime says, you guys realize we're 3 weeks away from discovering that Sam Darnold season. You probably aren't going to be right on that one, because Minnesota, all the hype is, and you never know, something crazy could happen, but all the hype is that they're trading up for a quarterback. I think Penix Jr. to JJ sounding more and more likely. Like, if I had to predict a landing spot, I'm gonna say the Vikings figure out a way, if they don't get lucky and he falls here, they figure out a way to move up in the draft if they need to, when they're scared he could go. Like, move up and try and get Penix Jr. Whether that's trade with the Chargers, who would be very tempted to draft an offensive lineman here at 11, or Brian Thomas Jr. or something like that. But the Chargers, if Penix Jr., don't be shocked if Penix Jr. goes in the top 5 or 6. And this is something that I've been screaming for an entire offseason, and everybody thought he would fall out of the first round. Smitty, you're so stupid. Nobody even thinks Penix Jr. is going to be a first rounder. I don't care what nobody or anybody else thinks. I'm not here for that. You see me watching their show? Are you watching their show? You're here, and we're here to discuss what this channel thinks. And I'm here interested in what you think, because I have the best community out there. My community collectively is better than any other show. DJ Moore also scored 40% of his fantasy points last 3 seasons. He wasn't very consistent, says Donnie. Keep blaming Fields for Chicago. I love it. None of this ever does anything. It doesn't convince me of anything. You can continue to say, my phone line. Ron Navy says, check your phone line. I'm sorry. Dial in, Ron. I closed it real quickly I didn't close it, I covered it. Check your phone line. Thank you for the $2 hauler, Ron Navy. Dial in again. Phone line's open. I love when people try to fantasy explain me about, and I'm not necessarily saying that Donnie or whoever said that was trying to convince me of anything, but I love when people like write a big paragraph about Fields' inaccuracies, and they truly think I care. No offense. I love what my people think. But hey, Ron, try or whoever that was, Tebow, try calling it again. I care what my people think, but I don't need a paragraph. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read your big, long paragraph of why you're convincing me about Fields and the numbers. I don't care. I'm not reading it. Ask something productive. Ask a good question. Tell me something. Tell me a prediction, whatever. Tell me you love Fields. But I don't care about what you think he didn't do in Chicago. I made it abundantly clear. Chicago was the problem and is the problem. Name a quarterback Chicago has developed. They don't develop anybody, and they're about to take the most questionable of the quarterbacks in this draft. What's up, Ron?
Yeah, not much. Just calling in. I don't know. I mean, I agree. Bowers is going to be great, if he gets a great landing spot. I don't know if he'll be the number one. I don't know if he'll overtake Laporta.
Yeah, totally arguable, yeah.
You're totally... I think it's going to be close. He has a possibility of being number one, but Man,
Yeah.
he's going up against some tough competition
Look.
with these last year's tight ends.
Our top four, let me rephrase it for you so you know that how I truly feel. Like the top four tight ends, we've never seen a top four tight end talent pool in fantasy like we have right now. So of course, McBride, as I said earlier, McBride could be the number one fantasy football dynasty tight end. Kincaid could become that. Laporta could stay there because right now that's where Laporta is. Bowers, 100% could be 4. You could be 4. It could be 1. Easily could be anywhere in the 1 to 4. I'm merely trying to emphasize that the tight end pool is as deep as it's ever been, and it's phenomenal. And Bowers is just as capable as the big 3 currently sitting there. So that's all I'm saying. It's just he is the best prospect we've ever seen at the tight end position come out of college. Widely stated, not just me. That's widely accepted statement. And if you think somebody might be a little bit better, if you thought Kyle Pitts was a better prospect, whatever, that's fine. It's, again, all debatable things if you want. But Bowers, if he needs the right landing spot, too, before he can overtake Laporta. But let's say he went to the Colts, man. That would be a phenomenal landing spot. What if he went to the Chargers? That would be great. They've got a lot of vacancy. So
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him. I don't know. You might not agree with this, but I'd like to see him on the Jets.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think the Jets are a definite possibility. They're certainly interested in him. I think I don't want him somewhere like Denver without a quarterback. I love him in Indy. Indy would obviously have to trade up to get him. The Giants would be awful. The Chargers would be good for sure. It's either the Chargers, the Jets, or Tennessee could go after him, but I think they believe in Okonkwo a little bit, but it might not stop them from drafting him. I think the Chargers at 5, the Giants are an option at 6, Tennessee's an option, but both not very likely. Chicago, they got Kmet, I don't think they do it. The Jets, yeah, I mean, those are unless somebody trades up, those are the likely places he could go, which are pretty good. You talk about the Chargers and the Jets being the most likely, and then the Colts being very interested, very, very, very interested. They just got to trade up. Those are all 3 very good spots, so I like them.
Do you think, real quick, do you think Cincinnati could jump up and
100%?
They could use it really.
Totally. Since he's kind of like Buffalo is for the 3 wide receivers, Adunze, Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Everybody likes to pretend they know everything. And the Buffalo Bills have no shot at trading up to get Marvin Harrison Jr., Adunze, or Neighbors. These guys are too far back. It's too expensive. They'll never have a top 3 wide receiver. Everybody tries to pretend they know everything. You don't know. You don't know what they can do. The Bengals for Bowers is similar to the Buffalo Bills for a top 3 wide receiver. They're far away. There's no way in hell they're getting one of the players that we're talking about at 18 and 28. But if anybody thinks that a move can't be made, that a sacrifice won't be made so that a team can get their guy, look at Detroit drafting Gibbs so much higher than anybody ever imagined, a top 10 pick, and everybody lost their mind and said, how in the hell, why did the Lions do this? They could have got him in the second round, and the Lions said, we heard whispers he was going to go before Bijan. They were so thrilled to get him. They traded up to get him. They were thrilled, and we loved it. We understood how good he was. A lot of other people didn't. But the Bengals might be their guy, and it certainly would be amazing for Joe Burrow. And it also gives them flexibility, Ron, to still play out the Higgins situation and not close the door on it. Right now, it feels like Ayuk is very much in the minds of the Niners organization to get it locked up and done and bring him back. Higgins feels like he's outside. They've closed the door on him. They certainly left it unlocked. But it's a very different situation because Higgins is franchise tagged and he's on the way out, essentially, whereas Ayuk is under contract and a year away from where Higgins is right now. So I think people need to understand that the Bengals still want Higgins, and they could draft a wide receiver, get rid of Higgins, or draft a wide receiver and expect Higgins to leave next year, or they could just go after Bowers and then address Higgins and figure that out. But it's definitely,
And
I love the landing spot, no doubt about it.
Those guys talking about Gesicki. Gesicki, for one thing, he can't block. He's not a blocking tight end. So Bowers would easily be able to take over.
Let's be very clear, Ron. Gesicki could go get an amazing cup of coffee for Brock Bowers. Like no other.
Yeah.
Like no other. Travis is live. Travis, what's up? Then Jack of all trades is on hold. Travis, what's going on, my guy?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
I think it could get interesting, especially how they're talking about maybe 4 straight QBs possibly going if Arizona or New England or someone does trade. But just with the amount of offensive players, I still think there'll be a couple of these teams who are stupid and draft for position and end up taking a defensive guy or a lineman when they could have a great offensive piece for their quarterback or get a quarterback. And so you may even see one of these guys drop to the 10, 11 pick, and then at that point anyone can jump up, like Buffalo, for example, like you said with Odunze. They need him to fall to that probably 10, 11 range for them to be able to get up high enough. Wouldn't you say it's going to be hard for them to get up to like a top 6 or 7 pick to take Odunze?
I think that everybody is underestimating the ability for one, and I think you kind of alluded to this, one single move to jostle everything around. Like if so I think if the Cardinals were to, let's say, trade out, and I'm gonna smash something into pieces, unless they get a Dunze or they get Neighbors, then I'm fine. Brian Thomas Jr., I might attempt to smash something, but then kind of calm down and say I like Brian Thomas Jr. a lot, so I'm kind of okay, but I'm still upset. But if the Cardinals trade from 4 to 11 and let's say get to 23 for that move down, and they don't get let's just say they get what they want. Their request is 3 first rounders. So let's say they get the 11, 23, and the 2025 first rounder. And people can laugh at that all they want. I get it. That's why we said at the top of the show and during the breaking news show where that actually was announced and we talked only about it. Go watch that if you want more Marvin Harrison Jr. talk. That essentially means that Marvin Harrison Jr. is an Arizona Cardinal because no one's going to pay that price. But let's say the Minnesota Vikings did, or the Cardinals backed down and they took 11 and 23 for the 4. Now all of a sudden it goes quarterback. And where a Dunze goes could be 4 draft slots different because it's all about fit.
Right.
And if you mess with the fitting of the wide receiver going to Arizona, then all of a sudden you run into this string of teams that doesn't need a wide receiver, and you might hit this like gap where all of a sudden Brian Thomas Jr., who if Marvin Harrison Jr. goes 4, Brian Thomas Jr. goes by a 13 or 14, maybe Brian Thomas Jr. falls to the Bengals to 18 if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't go until 6. Or if he goes to the Chargers.
There's even a world where, like, even if it just stays there and, first 3 picks QBs, Arizona takes Marvin Harrison, Chargers say they take a lineman, Giants take Neighbors, and then Tennessee, Atlanta, Chicago, they could all go defense, and New York Jets could take Bowers, and then there's still Odunze sitting there at 11. And Brian Thomas is still out there. So At that point, you're going to have teams going, oh, maybe we can get this guy, and start to try to jump up, and that's where Buffalo could definitely come in.
I might go live on these pieces of news later tonight or do a separate video on it, but there's 2 pieces of news that kind of broke right now. Let me actually go to my other screen here. This one right here is Dak Prescott. The Cowboys are a sleeper team. This is just speculation too and conjecture. Like everybody needs to understand that. But the Cowboys could be considered a sleeper to draft a QB per Adam Schefter. Could be a good contingency plan if they cannot work a deal out with Dak Prescott. We talked about this the other night, so I feel like we're way ahead of this one. Like we did a whole show on this, and everybody was probably a little bit thrown back by some of the stuff we talked about, which is right in line with this. But Dak is somebody that could even get traded, and he's got a no trade clause and but he's also got a no franchise tag clause. So the no franchise tag clause makes Dak Prescott a very, very unattractive player to not have under contract. But Jerry Jones doesn't want to put him under contract because he doesn't know if he wants to commit to him. Kind of like the Danny Dimes situation should have been handled. Dable and the Giants should have not given Danny Dimes. They should have franchise tagged him, signed Barkley, but they crapped their bed diarrhea style on this Danny Dimes contract. They should have did the exactly what Jerry Jones is doing. But to not give Dak his extension very, very much puts Dak Prescott in a vulnerable spot to be like, hey, Dak, we want to move you. And Dak's going to be like, well, you're not giving me a contract. Someone might say, why would Dak accept it? Because he'd be getting a contract. No team is going to trade for Dak Prescott. And again, Prescott would have to approve the trade because he's got a no-trade clause. No team's going to trade for Dak Prescott unless they iron out a long-term deal in conjunction and in parallel with the trade. So Dak will approve any trade, practically. If a team comes to him, the Raiders, and they say, Dak, we want to trade for you, Dak is going to 100% hit the yes button because they're going to say, here's your big monster deal. And he's going to say, done deal, shake hands. I'm going to get my contract. Jerry won't give it to me. Dak could easily be traded. So
they can say what they want about Dak, but there's a lot of teams that would be very happy with Dak.
Very happy. Same thing with Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's not a top 4 or 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
He can play that way from a fantasy perspective and an NFL perspective from time to time. I really think Kyler has the potential. I wouldn't say it's 0% of being a top 5 NFL quarterback. He's got the potential. He's still very young.
Yeah, he's got the potential.
Yeah. But like, would I say that Kyler Murray is in my top 5 or 6? No. Not if I'm a GM drafting a completely blank roster. And there's no fit at all yet. It's like we're all 32 teams drafting, and quarterbacks are gonna go flying off the board in the first round. It'll look like a super flex. And I'm on the clock. Is Kyler going anywhere in my top 5 or 6 overall? No. I'm not taking him there. But is he still the best quarterback the Cardinals could come by? Yeah. Unless they had the number 2 or 1 pick, I'd probably take a gamble on JD5, and I would have traded Kyler away. But that's me. Yeah. But the fact they can't get JD5, and the fact that they're literally looking at what other alternative, the Cardinals' best move is to keep moving forward with Kyler. So Dak is the same thing for other teams. The Raiders, they can't get a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Maybe Penix Jr. I like Penix Jr. a lot, and so that would be a good fit if they can trade up. But he might not fall to them, so they'd have to trade up. But like Dak might be, like you said, an amazing quarterback for a handful of teams, even if people want to act like Dak is no good. Dak's a good quarterback. Is he great? Probably not. Is he elite? No, but he's
better than Tua.
Yeah. You put Dak Prescott in Miami Mike's offense. He's already one of the most potent quarterbacks in the National Football League, especially from fantasy. The Cowboys are top 5 every year. They air the hell out of the ball. Like, you put Dak Prescott in Miami, you might get the same result in terms of you're not winning, the playoff games, but from it might be the same thing. Because like Dallas and Miami, Dallas is pretty damn good. Like, you might say, hey, Tyreek, Waddle, HN, that could be really good, Smitty. That might be better. It might be, it might not be. Like CeeDee Lamb is delivering, The concern I have is, damn, I don't want Dak and CeeDee to be divided, because we have no clue what CeeDee looks like without Dak Prescott. And he might look similar with the lights on, but this is like at the club when you turn the lights on. We don't know what CeeDee Lamb's going to really look like with the lights on. It's going to be something that I think people are like intrigued. I don't know if Perps is watching right now, and Ron Navy might get a kick out of this comment. And Perps, I don't mean anything negative toward the Vikings on this, but I think maybe Perps isn't as excited as how it feels right now as he thought it would to get rid of Cousins. Like, he probably is like, we need to get rid of him now. He's probably just a little part of him, I bet Perps would admit, is going, I hope this is the right move. You know what I mean? And I think it could be. If they get Penix Jr., I love the move. I'm with Perps. At the end of the day, I like the idea of taking this gamble on this guy that can maybe change the historical, like, you got a whole new place to go JJ's young. You're going to sign him to a big fat deal. Penix Jr. could be on the rise, a total star, I believe. So I like the move. But if they don't land Penix Jr. and they're sitting there looking for a quarterback and they aren't able to get him, and they get sniped by New York, and Bo Nix is a nice consolation, but you don't really know for sure. Like, maybe this is something where you're like, crap, this isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm sure he's willing to take the risk. That's what Perp said plenty of times. But Miami should take Penix Jr. The Jets should take Penix Jr. There are a lot of teams that I think should be planning ahead. And Miami and the Jets are the two most unlikely and in spots that would maybe make you go, what? What do you mean Miami? Why would Miami do? Why would the Jets do it? They got A-Rod. These are the two spots that need to survive long term, and they don't have the long term setup at quarterback. So we'll see. But we got Jack of all trades on the phone. What's up, pal?
How's everybody doing?
Good. What's up, Jack?
So, sorry, trying to eat salad. I believe that
salad.
Justin Fields, salad and celery and pineapple and strawberry.
What are we doing, Jack of all trades? Call in and lie to me. Tell me you're eating a big ribeye. What are you doing, dialing up a salad? Call it into the fantasy football show. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was calling the Vegan Express.
Yeah, go ahead, Caleb. I mean, Jack. What can I do for you, Caleb Williams? I mean, Jack.
Mike Tomlin and the Rooneys are going to get a hold of that guy, and they're going to straighten him out. Justin Fields is going to be the AFC's North worst nightmare. I could see comeback player of the year, at least 12 wins, and deep into the playoff runs. I mean, look what they did last year with nothing.
Jack, for a guy that eats salads, I couldn't agree more with you.
It's unbelievable. And how did the rest
I'm not going to pretend
of
eat a salad.
the entire league let that happen? How did they let that happen?
Jack, I did a show almost daily on it. I don't know. And everybody that comes to me and says, well, all the other teams did seem to think he was starter material. Like that, like I care about that? What, do you think you know more than 30 other teams? Yeah, apparently I do. And I wouldn't be here doing what I do. You could say I'm arrogant.
Down to coaching.
You could say I'm arrogant in that comment all you want, but why would I come on here and talk football and make predictions and say my feelings and say this team's stupid, this team should have done this team's amazing for doing this? Why would I do this if I didn't think my opinion actually was in some way better than the majority of the things happening in the NFL? I would just be sitting here getting schooled every day by these NFL teams. That guy's not going to work. Oh, he did work out. This is my job. This is what I do. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying that Fields was a steal for 30 teams. 30 teams in the National Football League diarrheaed their bed. Just sharded all over the place because he fell into a backup quarterback price tag range. And 30 teams should have that
for a decade-long run of Justin Fields.
Get ready for it. And everybody,
and it was the worst trade ever that Cleveland made. I'm telling you, it set this team back a decade. That Watson has he's not even interested in playing football.
Can I ask you a question? Remember, Travis, when I said the other day that in order for the Browns to save face and get out of this black hole that they've created for themselves, where the franchise is in question, the decision making is the worst we've ever seen in the history of the NFL, with the conjunction, the combination of the Deshaun Watson trade cost that cost to get him and the contract that they attached to him. One of the worst debacles in sports history. How do you get out of that? The Niners did. The Niners, not that Trey Lance failed, but they failed Trey Lance in San Francisco. It was a debacle. Shanahan would be fired if Brock Purdy didn't work out. How did they save Shanahan's job? How did Shanahan save his job? Brock Purdy. Who did that? Adam Peters, by the way, who's now in Washington. Thank you very much. But how do you save Cleveland? You bring in a Brock Purdy. You find your Brock Purdy, who is sitting right in front of the Cleveland Browns' face for a cost of a 5 or a 6 round pick. Justin Fields. You could have brought in Justin Fields and sat him right behind. You could have sat him right behind Watson, had him nip at Watson's heels, and if he replaced him, no one would be upset. They'd say, "Let's see what he's got."
I can't believe
he
that
does
they let this
amazing.
happen.
He does amazing. Takes off, and now the Browns are like the Niners. It's a distant memory. No one even cares. It didn't work out, but look what we got. Look what we got.
I feel the same way.
Like my wife says, it's the Cleveland Clowns.
Jacoby Brissett. Like Jacoby Brissett. Fields is better than Jacoby Brissett right now. You know, Fields is better than anyone the Browns have right now.
I could do a video.
You could do that with probably 10 teams.
I could do a video on this every day. I practically did for 2 weeks. I could do a video on this every day.
Pittsburgh's back on the map.
How stupid these teams were. 30 teams. Once Fields dropped into backup quarterback cost of entry, 30 teams crapped the bed hardcore. Bengals crapped the bed. Buffalo Bills crapped the bed. Arizona Cardinals crapped the bed. The Indianapolis Colts crapped the bed. Everybody crapped the bed because this is a backup quarterback that you could bring in and win a championship with if the worst thing happened.
It goes to the best ran team, the best owned team, the best coach team. Look what I cannot believe Tomlin did miracles last year with nothing.
Let's not get carried away on this being a Tomlin is the hero here. You're going to get Ron upset, number one, and number two. I disagree with the Pittsburgh Steelers being the best team, best coach team. I think the Arthur Smith, signing was absolutely stupid. But I do believe that Sullivan, I'm pretty confident at this point with everything that we've looked into, Sullivan's who's in charge of the passing attack. I'm not worried about Arthur Smith stepping on anything.
Some people are good head coaches. They're just good offensive coordinators. So I don't know.
Well, he's not going to offensive coordinate though. That's the thing is I don't think Arthur Smith is the offensive coordinator actually out there on the field. I think he's the run coordinator that has an offensive coordinator title. I don't know if FedEx said we're not delivering another package to the Pittsburgh Steelers ever again if you don't give my son an offensive coordinator title. I don't know what happened there. I don't know how Arthur Smith got the title, but I believe Mike Sullivan is the Zach Robinson of the offense. And Zach Robinson was the QB coordinator. The reason he's in Atlanta as the OC now is because of how good of a passing situation that guy can dial up. I think that's what we're looking at with Sullivan. I wouldn't be shocked if Sullivan got an OC job next year somewhere. If not elevated in Pittsburgh to OC, but we'll see. I just I don't fully agree with Pittsburgh being on top of everything, but I think that the con man, as they call him, has done a great job, and Ron is correct. He's kind of the puppet master potentially in this situation that could save Tomlin's job. But Tomlin is definitely, on thin ice with me. Ron's already disowned him, but maybe this thing ends up turning around. Tomlin does some very good things. Okay, he does. But let's see what happens here. I do love the fact that Fields is nipping at the heels of Russell Wilson and not the other way around, because Fields will have nothing to lose. His back is against the wall. He's not looking over his shoulder one single bit. Let's get back to the rookies real quick, though. Jack of all trades, who's your favorite rookie on this board here that isn't named Marvin Harrison Jr.? Bowers,
for sure.
Yeah. Where are you hoping he lands? In LAC with the Chargers, or where do you want him?
I think that the Chargers would benefit a lot more from having Bowers than what's the other guy's name? Nibbers.
I kind of agree, only because it's such a deep wide receiver. This is why I think Nibbers won't go to the Chargers, because I think Harbaugh. Is there a head coach in the NFL you can think of more that wouldn't say something like this? It's such a deep class. We can get a guy. Like, is there any other head coach in the National Football you can picture saying that more than Harbaugh? I doubt it. Like, this is a deep.
He's probably fine with the Josh Palmer.
Yeah, he probably is, but he'll probably get Roman Wilson. You know, he'll probably get Roman Wilson,
Right.
or he'll go get. And I'm not saying he's wrong. Bowers and Leggett, or Bowers and Malachi Corley, or Bowers and even a Ricky Parasol. Like that could
Parasol, there you go.
It could be a better combination than going Neighbors and not having the tight end option. So we'll see. But I have
You
a
kill
very
two birds with one stone.
I have about a very I would guess 60%, 70% chance that Neighbors lands in a spot that is not going to be a great spot for people. I think they're going to be a little upset about it, like New York. I feel like New York or Tennessee, you know, something like that. And Tennessee's not horrible, but it's not great because it's crowded and we don't know what Levis is. I think Tennessee probably leans offensive line. If I had to guess, this is a very deep offensive line class. They could even trade down, but I just think Neighbors has a chance to go somewhere like, I don't know, somewhere where we don't want him to go, but that's just my
You
guess.
have to hope the Giants take a QB.
You would think they'd go Penix Jr. I mean, Penix Jr. is climbing into the top 2 quarterbacks for a lot of astute, you know, analysis in NFL draft scouts. You would think that the Giants would be okay with taking him as the 4th or 5th quarterback. If he's climbing into the top 2, as we've said the entire offseason here.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Smitty, Penix Jr. isn't the top 2 quarterback. He's now top 2 to a lot of people. Chew on that. Chew on that. Mustard says I'm hating on Neighbors. I'm not hating on Neighbors. I just got through telling you, Mustard, that he could be the number 1 wide receiver in this entire class. It's no offense, Mustard, but it's going to be people like you that come in and say, Smitty, how do you like Neighbors now? Are you going to turn your opinion on Neighbors now? Are you changing your opinion on Neighbors now? I love Neighbors in the right spot. I love Adunze in the right spot. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. pretty much no matter where. But Neighbors could be the number 1 wide receiver. How many more times do I have to tell you that? He could be the number 1 wide receiver in, let's say, Arizona. If Arizona traded down and Harrison Jr. went before him and the Cardinals were down a little bit, he'd be the number 1 wide receiver. Like, what are you talking about hating on him? Just being real. You just don't like that I have Neighbors as not a lock to be the number 2 because I say Adunze could be better. I like Adunze better. If everything's even and equal, I like Adunze more than Neighbors. That has nothing to do with Neighbors. That doesn't devalue Neighbors. I just got through telling you that all 3 of these wide receivers could all be top 12 fantasy football wide receivers, with 2 of them being top 8, 1 of them being 1 to 3, and the other one being 7 to 12. And Neighbors included in that. What are you talking about?
You got to cover where he could land too. Like, we don't just want to go, oh, Chargers need a wide receiver, so Neighbors will be there and everything will be great. Like, got to cover all the situations that could happen. And it is looking like if one of the wide receivers could end up in a less favorable spot, it could be Neighbors.
Yeah. You know what's great? Landing spots.
You know what I like about Bowers the most?
What do you like about Bowers the most?
He already looked like a veteran.
Bro, he's the best prospect at the tight end position we've ever had come out of college. I'm not the only one that said. I've said that. I think I've said that since January, but there are a lot of people saying that right now. Who said this? Campbell? Who is this? Campbell? Cam. Cam says landing spot is king. This is a phrase we throw around here all the time. You're 100% correct, and that's why Neighbors could be 1. That's why Neighbors could be 3. Landing spot is king. And for those saying that someone said I like too many guys in this draft class, again, you don't see one rookie running back on here. And you never see me talk about the rookie running backs because I'm awaiting the landing spot. So I'm calculated with it. I'm not just throwing around all the top rookies and saying they're all going to land. I'm strategic about it. Not to mention Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't even in anyone's really their top 4 coming into anything. Adunze was, a lot of people didn't, they liked him. He was definitely around the 3-4, but now you hear all the talk about him being maybe the number 1 wide receiver in this entire draft class. Neighbors, Harrison Jr. and Adunze, all of them could be number 1. You hear that phrase all the time, or that people say that all the time. Penix Jr., no one had him in the top 4 quarterbacks. So this is all strategic. It's just starting to come true, and now it looks blatantly obvious to you. is what it is. Landing spot is king. And the crazy part about all this is I believe that landing spot's going to be amazing for all these guys for the most part. I believe one of the wide receivers will land like in New York or somewhere where we're not super thrilled with it, but long term it'll be fine. They'll build around the player, right? And Neighbors even said this on Instagram Live. He said if he goes to the Giants, they'll figure it out. They'll build around him. You know, you don't bring in a receiver of that talent, and he was talking about himself. If you're not going to then all of a sudden go get your quarterback and build around it. But I'm in agreement with Jack of all trades, not to drudge up the topic we were just talking about, but whoever takes Neighbors that has no quarterback,
somebody's at the front door.
Why in the hell? Oh, we got little Smitty here. Hold on. Go ahead, Ron, take over real quick.
All right.
You're in charge. Don't let us down.
But hey, you know what it is. So what do you
Ron,
think
I was
the
gonna
Raiders going to do,
ask you-
Trap?
Oh, all right. I'll answer that quick. I think right now, I think they're just going to sit and take May or Daniels. I know there's a lot of chatter about J.J. McCarthy, and I can see a world where they do that. But the more I hear from reporters close to the team and stuff, it sounds like that they're kind of keying in on May and Daniels, and one of the two will be there, which is what I hope they do. I don't want to get too cute with it.
What? So what are you guys talking about?
Do you think? Oh, we're talking about.
You were just asking me what I thought the Patriots would end up doing.
Yeah, they're meeting with. They met with Daniels today. Obviously it went well. Like you hear stuff. We'll hear a lot more stuff later, but it comes down to Washington. Like New England they're in a vulnerable spot because they unfortunately are getting the leftovers. And then they're having to draft a QB that's a QB spot that's much more hard to determine, right? Because you got May, you got McCarthy, you got Penix Jr. rising up, and New England's probably freaking out because they're like, we know what we want, we're probably not going to get it, and I doubt Washington will trade down. I think that they want JD5 and they want him hardcore, and as soon as he visits with them next week too, he's such a likable, confident, intelligent quarterback that can command a field full of football players, veterans too. He could walk into any locker room and he command immediate respect.
The one thing I will say, and you've covered it. One point that I think in terms of just people don't kind of cover enough is that I have JD5 above May too, but in terms of development and everything, the better situation is obviously JD5 to Washington and May to New England, where they can take their time and develop him. Because he definitely needs a little bit of developing. He has a high ceiling, but he may need to, be brought along a little slower, I guess.
Yeah, May feels like a project. Not that it's a long project, as you just kind of alluded to. It's just he doesn't feel like the guy that you could come out and be Stroud right away. And while JD5 is different than Stroud, you know what I'm saying? Like JD5 would come out and be AR5 or whatever. So, I think
that's other.
McCarthy's not going to come out and be Stroud either. Like if let's say there's a Stroud type talent in May or McCarthy, I believe it's going to take some time. And not to mention McCarthy and Stroud, unless Minnesota trades up and gets one of them, they're not going to have the potential weapons. Minnesota's and Las Vegas are the two potential. They could fast track May and McCarthy and make them a lot better, a lot quicker. But Penix Jr., in my opinion, is going to be the benefactor of that. I think a team like Minnesota or LV. I think if I had to make a prediction, and I could even put on the board, I think Penix Jr. is in Las Vegas or Minnesota. I think that these are the two teams that have the most to lose by not going and getting the most NFL-ready quarterback. And you could say Penix Jr. is the most NFL-ready, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I like Penix Jr. to Minnesota. And if Dak gets traded to Las Vegas, then Vegas is out.
Yeah.
I think
We're just talking about
from Minnesota too. I keep it, and it's all smoke season, but it really seems like Minnesota is keying in on May or JJ McCarthy. It seems like they really like those two. Now,
I think you're
maybe
probably
just
right.
smoke,
I think they're just trying to get to know all of them because they don't have control. Like you're at 11 without the no, you don't know who's going to be there. And Bo Nix, we're not talking about Bo Nix at all. Bo Nix is maybe one of the top 3 most NFL ready quarterbacks of
he's
all the quarterbacks.
interesting. Yeah.
So I love Bo Nix. Bo Nix could really he reminds me so much of like Patrick Mahomes coming out of college. He's so dynamic and he's such a play extender, and he's unorthodox, and he figures out he's got the Brett Favre Mahomes type, like just shuffle pass, get it into the end zone, figure out how to do whatever it takes to get the football into the end zone. He's so good. I think Bo Nix is getting completely underrated. And we never talk about him, and he needs to be in this conversation, but I do think that Minnesota has Aaron Jones and JJ, and I think the Aaron Jones move to me indicates they want to try and win now, and like I said, I think May and JJ McCarthy are more projects, and I think they want Penix Jr. I think they do want to see if they can unload the football immediately to JJ instead of.
That'd be great.
But we'll see.
Great spot.
Yeah. Bo Nix in Las Vegas would be interesting. Penix Jr. in Las Vegas. But I think Penix Jr. is going to LV or Minnesota. I really think he's throwing to Adams or JJ. JJ or Adams. I can see Penix Jr. having a top 5 to 10 wide receiver.
The last thing I will say is just like you said with the Cardinals saying they want 3 first-round picks. And now you're here. I mentioned it earlier on the earlier stream. You're hearing things leak out. Oh, the Patriots want 4 or 5 first-round picks, which is insane, to move off the spot. Well, that would tell you that they're probably leaning towards staying on that spot unless they get completely blown away. So, and I think Arizona and New England should both just sit and take whatever QB is there and then take Marvin Harrison. I think that's the best thing for both of those franchises.
Yeah. Jack of all trades. What do you think happens here? Where's Penix Jr. throwing? Where's Bo Nix throwing footballs? Where's J.J. McCarthy throwing footballs? Hello?
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Hello? Wrong button.
I think Penix is going to go to the Vikings.
Okay.
And I think J.J. McCarthy is going to go to the Commanders.
At 2?
Whoa.
I like that.
I think somebody's going to...
Of course you like that, Travis. You want JD5 going to New England. I can't. I mean, you never know. We're weeks away. Anything could happen, but I don't think. I think that JJ McCarthy. I think the JJ McCarthy. The JJ McCarthy hype has died down a little, though. I don't think it's going up. But you never know.
I know people like Sid Nasty will hate to hear it. Say it again, Ron. Sorry.
I said, if that were to happen, where would May end up?
Giants.
Someone would jump up and draft that. I would say the Giants might try to grab him.
I think the Giants would look at that as a gift and say, like, wow, he shouldn't have been here. I don't know if we like him, but we certainly feel like this was not on our board, so something happened. Let's take it. I think the Giants would take him.
Hey, Travis, I think you guys probably want to, and you can get them for free in the drafts, in the underdog draft. But I think no matter what quarterback you get, I think KJ Osborne's going to thrive there in New England for you guys.
That's a total
He's not
Ron guy. That's a total Ron guy. Ron loves him.
I'll say this: he'll obviously have more of an opportunity, but I don't think he's more than a number on a good team. He's a number 3 wide receiver.
Yeah.
On a bad team like the Patriots for now, or he could have a decent year. But I hope you're right.
I think he thrives. He thrives. if you notice him play, he rises to all the occasions. When he gets the opportunities, he makes the most of them. And, you know, he was the one that brought all the energy and brought Minnesota back from that Colts game that was the biggest comeback in history.
I think he was a product of your boy Cousins. I'm not saying he's not good. He's in the NFL. He's obviously a good player to a degree.
I think you just don't like him because he can't play basketball.
Well, that didn't help. That didn't help. But when I saw how uncoordinated he was, there's only so much, you know, I can back him. But he's a horrible basketball player. Worst player. If anybody's seen that, I forget what movie it is where that guy, what's his name? He died. The actor died. The actual actor died. But he was in that movie where he did raindrops and he'd throw the ball right at the back of the rim or the back of the backboard and it wouldn't even hit the rim. Like, boom. What's that guy's name? Damn it, I forget. Well, anyway, that's how Osborne plays. He'd shoot a free throw and he wouldn't even hit the rim. It just hit the back of the backboard. Like, just very uncoordinated guy. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You can judge my judging of that all you want, but KJ Osborne to me was he's a good player. He's, like Travis said, a wide receiver 3 somewhere, sure, but Kirk Cousins, you know, is why he had a couple of those big games, in my opinion. I don't get a sense that he's.
I don't know. I see something in him you guys don't, I guess. I think he's gonna do really well.
But the one thing is he is technically the number 1 wide receiver on the Patriots roster right now, because the Patriots don't value wide receiver. They value wide receiver less than than Harbaugh does.
I don't know.
Well, that's under.
I mean, I would have cleaned out the whole entire staff and, you know,
Long came Paul.
Mayo and everything, and brought in all new people. You know,
Philip Seymour Hoffman,
like, little Patriot thing. Yeah. That's
Philip Seymour Hoffman in the Along Came Paulie. He raindrops and he just launched the ball into the back of the backboard.
Right.
Yeah. We got a $50. We got a $50 bold prediction from Superfish. Superfish says, hey, let's bring this over to the standing room. Hold on. Let me get over here. All right, Superfish dropping a $50 prediction. As you can see, the board behind me. Any $50 prediction goes on the board, and the winner of that will co-host the show. You can give away that spot if you don't want, if you're camera shy, or if you just want to be on the phone. You can do that as well. Prediction: Jonnu Smith. Whoa! I did not expect to see Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith will be a top 5 tight end in 2024. Call me crazy, but this will be different Dolphins offense, incorporating the tight ends as much as, like, Miami Mike doesn't incorporate tight ends much at all, though. So I don't know. And Jonnu, I mean, he's got to fight injury and all that. But you get this right, you'll get mad props. So Superfish, today is the 9th. So 4-9 Superfish. Jonnu Smith, what is it, top 5? Jonnu Smith, top 5 tight end. Wow. That's got to be the boldest one on the board by far right now. Right now, we've got Ron Navy, Justin Fields, MVP 2024. Ron Navy, Atlanta NFC champions. This one here is by Matt O. Fields, starter by week 4, top 12 quarterback. Golf, Pittsburgh to the Super Bowl. Deckard, KC, number 3 Super Bowl in a row. They win back-to-back-to-backs. Ray G, Tank Dell, 1,500 yards, 13 TDs. Matt O, Caleb, Rookie of the Year. Terry Roberts, 4,500 yards, and he said 25 touchdowns. Terry Roberts says 4,500 yards and 25 touchdowns for Stroud. we all were like, whoa! And so he changed it to 47. DeBalt Stroud, MVP plus Super Bowl appearance. And Superfish, Jonnu Smith, top 5 tight end. Clearly the boldest one so far. Your boy put some up here as well. Eagles NFC champs. I don't get to win, but Fields starter by week 1, top 8 to 10. Top 8 to 10. Superfish, appreciate you.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Appreciate you, Superfish. What do you guys think of that? Jonnu Smith, man. I'll be honest with you. This sounds embarrassing. But I was like, for a second, I'm like, wait, where is he playing again? for a second.
He's still playing for Tennessee.
For a second, I swear to you, for a second, I'm just being honest. I'm a little embarrassed. But for a second, I'm like, where's Jonnu Smith again? Shit, where's he playing? Jonnu's back. Go Superfish. Say words. Proud of you. $2 hauler. I like it. Hey, look, you know, the bold ones, we laughed at the one that won. We got another D-Town dropping one. D-Town dropping one. $50 hauler from D-Town. Thank you, Superfish. I love the prediction, even though I don't agree with it. I still love it. Nothing better than a bold prediction on a bold prediction board. Okay? Let me just put that out there.
That's a truly bold prediction.
Yeah. You know? Superfish is dropping it. That's the boldest prediction we have so far. Detroit Lions Super Bowl champions in 2024, says D-Town. Woo! That's a good one. That's a good one. So this is 4-9. 4-9 D-Town. Lions Super Bowl winner. 4-9 D-Town. Doing it live. I like it, D-Town. I like it. That's definitely bold enough to win. The one that won last year was it was Bijan would be a backup running back. And like even though you could argue that it wasn't necessarily the most accurate, the chat decides, and the chat decided regardless. Like even if part of your prediction misses, if the chat decides it's the best one, it just felt like the most accurate to play out, then it wins. The winner's gonna get you're going to co-host at least, you know, a good 30 minutes with me, starting the show off side by side at the intro. So it's not like I'll bring you in like a phone caller. We'll start the show together. I'll get you on the show before we hit the go button, and we co-host the show at the beginning together, at least a couple segments, 30 minutes long. If you want to do it on the phone and just have a photo of your avatar, whatever makes you comfortable. Or you could give it away if you want to be a hero. And then we'll have some other prizes, so don't worry. D-Town, appreciate you dropping that 50 wad, my friend.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Appreciate that one, D-Town. What do you guys think on that one?
You got another super chat there.
Calvin, $5 hauler.
50-50.
Yeah. The Detroit Lions. Does anybody think the Lions can win the Super Bowl?
There's a chance. I mean, a couple things.
They could have been in the Super Bowl if they kept on running the ball.
Motion detected at the front door.
Yeah. Hey, Smitty, crazy.
I'm not sure Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl, though. He'd have to get the right matchup.
Right here, so Calvin says, hey, Smitty, crazy how nobody knows what Adam Peters is planning. He's about to fleece New England in a trade and still get his guy. This is possible, Calvin, if JD5 is not their guy. But I don't know. I don't know that I agree that.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think Peters knows that JD5 is the number one quarterback in the entire draft. You know, and if he was to go one, then they probably take Caleb, unfortunately. And Caleb would have his best shot playing with Kingsbury, his former coach at USC. Kingsbury was his QB coach. I think that they would take Caleb. You never know. You never know. If they quietly like May Moore or something like that, or J.J. McCarthy, and that's what Jack of all trades predicted, that J.J. McCarthy would be a commander. If he is, then it would be a trade down and they still get their guy. and then take advantage of New England, who thinks that Washington's going to take JD5, and New England clearly wants JD5. At least we're hearing that. Maybe New England doesn't want JD5 as much as we think, but we'll see. But it's a good prediction. But I mean, I don't know that we know what the hell.
I think if the Patriots trade, they're trading out of those top 3 picks.
Yeah. A lot of people believe in the Lions. I don't blame you guys. I don't blame you at all. I think, God, they got such a good roster. Such a good roster.
I don't know if Goff can do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Things
been there before.
for him last year.
He's been there.
So
maybe he can.
Maybe I don't give him enough credit.
Yeah, he's definitely underrated player. He feels a lot like Cousins. Like nobody gives him the respect he deserves.
Yeah.
But the team is so good. Like, is there another team that maybe has a little lesser quarterback than you would want? Let's say Goff is that. He's good, but he's not your favorite quarterback. Is there a better surrounding supporting cast around such a quarterback than the Lions?
Yeah.
Probably not. You got Jamison Williams about to come into his own and be a really solid wide receiver too for this team. You got St. Brown, who's as good as anybody. You got Laporta, who's as good as anybody. You got Gibbs, who's as good as anybody. You arguably have a top 2 or 3 receiver, or at least call them top 5, the top tight end, and a top 1 to 5 running back. You literally at every position have cornerstoned a top 5 guy. So, Goff is probably, isn't Hendon Hooker the same age as Tua Tagovailoa? Maybe. Say Word just became a member. Say Word, appreciate you.
I guess that's the thing, is that as long as Goff, and he did a lot better job of it last year, as long as he doesn't make the stupid turnovers like he has in the past, because sometimes he can get a little wild at the end, in tough situations, and he seemed to do a lot better than that. They seemed to reel him in pretty well last year, so I should give him credit for that.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Oh, we got Bruce on the phone. The Bruce is loose. What's up, Bruce? What? What, Ron?
Hey, what's up, Smitty?
What's up, Bruce? The Bruce.
I got a quick question for you.
Is loose? Where's
the Bruce is?
What if the Vikings just stick and pick with whichever quarterback is last? Would that be a mistake?
No, because it could be Penix Jr. Probably won't be based on the trending right now. It could be Bo Nix. Bo Nix is fantastic. I really like him. So, no. I think the Vikings are in good position. You know who I don't want there? J.J. McCarthy. I think Bo Nix and Penix Jr. are better than J.J. McCarthy. I'm almost afraid that Minnesota's trading up for J.J. when they can get Penix or Bo Nix where they are. I don't want them to trade up, sacrifice the 23 overall to get the lesser quarterback. I know Sick Nasty's rolling over in his grave right now because he loves J.J. McCarthy. And I'm not saying he's bad, but I like Bo Nix better. I like Penix Jr. Head and shoulders above. So.
That's a good point,
too. Because I told you who I wanted.
Who do you want? Who do you want, Brucey? I forget.
I want May. I want Drake May.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say.
Just because, and
Garoppolo. Here's
the problem that a lot of people think with me. I like if the coach has coached someone before. Well, McCown coached Darnold, and he coached May. So I'm kind of like, okay, well, safe and secure right there.
Maybe. McCown doesn't impress me as much as he impresses everybody else. But we'll see. Hey, who's your mom want to draft? The Minnesota Vikings to draft. Who does she like the most? Penix Jr.? She watching the show?
She's more so leaning towards them picking, like I said, picking the last available quarterback.
Okay.
And then whoever is the best defensive player. Because she says that's what they need, the defense.
I gotcha. Goff is good enough to get it done, says John. There are a lot of people that agree with you. And again, I don't know that we can name another NFL team. Maybe the Rams that have a quarterback that, and this isn't a knock on Stafford, but like we can't say Stafford and Goff are that different. Like these are both quarterbacks that are in no one's top 5. They're definitely in the top 12.
Yeah.
You know, so Stafford is a similar quarterback. There was a rumor. There was a rumor floating around somewhere that the Rams were now a landing spot, likely one of the many 5 or 6 likely landing spots for Bowers. So Bowers and the Rams potentially getting connected. Again, speculation and stuff, but that would be a very interesting marriage.
Here's a question me and my mom have.
All right, this for those that don't know who Miss Robeson is. She is the author and architect of the Baked In Boys, which is right here, and also the Bijan Robinson clip here.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
All right, Bruce. What did your mother say? Go ahead.
Me and my mom, we're in agreement on this one, that Dalton Schultz, the tight end, will score more than any receiver on the Texans.
Woo!
Whoa, that's a bold take.
I don't like that one. I think you guys have a little too much of the Miss Robeson meatloaf, which can weigh down the mind a little bit. It's excellent meatloaf. It could. Come on.
And
I don't know about that one.
Hear us out on this one. Hear us out on this one.
Okay.
And this is exactly what she said.
Okay.
Okay, they're going to be covering all 3 receivers. Well, that leaves the tight end wide open.
I'm still not convinced, Brucey, because you can't cover all 3 wide receivers. If anything, what's going to happen is you're going to lock down one, and the other 2 will be flying solo all around the field. There's no way to lock down 3 wide receivers. It's good in theory if you've had a lot of meatloaf, but I think it's one of those like ideas late at night sounds great until the morning, and then when you wake up in the morning, you've already wrote the Jerry Maguire memo and sent it out to everybody. You're like, damn it, not as good of an idea late as it was late last night.
And if I'm correct, he did actually really well last year.
You know what?
In Houston.
You know what's crazy about this prediction from the Bruce and his mother is that Nico's going at 20 overall, Diggs is going at 22 overall. These are 2 second-round players, and Tank Dell's going in the 3rd round. So you're talking about the Dalton Schultz will outscore all 3 of these guys. Might as well wait. Might as well wait for Dalton. I like it. You guys need to collectively drop a $50 hauler. Put it on the board, Bruce. That one would win by a landslide if it ended up working out. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
But it's the boldest thing I've ever heard in my life.
But that's what we're going to do next Tuesday. We both get paid. We're each going to go do the $25 and say, here's Dalton Schultz. We pick him.
Attaboy. I'll give you 2 predictions for that one. You can give me a second one just because your mom's going to get one and you're going to get one for the half price $50 hauler Wednesdays.
Well, then her other one is we'll get our second prediction, and our second prediction. I told you already. Mine is Joe Burrow's MVP of the league.
Okay, I'll give you a free one. You can have that one too. You call in with your mom on that one. Drop a bold prediction like that. I'll give you two for the price of one. Maybe we do a 2-for-1 Wednesdays. $50 haulers.
All right, well, I could do that. I'll make my mom come on because she'll listen, but she's kind of like talk.
Let's go to Jack of all trades.
Shy.
Let's go to Jack of all trades on this one. Jack, what's your commentary response to the Dalton Schultz outscoring all 3 of the Texans wide receivers prediction that Bruce just dropped on the channel?
I could see where he's coming from, but I no offense, I think I think Collins and Diggs there, and Tank Dell, and who's the other guy that never really came about? Munchin there. I don't know. There's a lot of mouths to feed there.
I think Jack of all trades is trying to be polite. Here's a $50 hauler bold prediction from Calvin. Calvin says extremely bold prediction. A rookie QB finally leads a team to a Super Bowl. Okay, that's good. You don't even have to. This is a really good prediction because you've got a lot of chances at it, and you're not pinning yourself down to one QB. So, and it's still bold enough that it could win it. So that's a good one. So Calvin 4-9. What's Calvin? Calvin Krim. Rookie QB wins Super Bowl. Calvin Krim. Excellent prediction. That is a good one. It doesn't even have to, you don't have to historically, reference that. You just say rookie QB wins and boom. That's a good one. Calvin, appreciate your $50 hauler, my guy.
Alert. Super chat alert.
What's up, Travis?
It's too bad that I guess I could still see it happening, but it's too bad that Penix to Seattle is a little less likely now that they got Howell, because that would be a really they could be really good, I think, if they got Penix in Seattle.
Yeah.
What do you think the chances are they take that flyer? Probably pretty low now, right?
Seattle, because of the Howell pickup, yeah, it's a tough one. I would say they've still done a couple quarterback interviews, though, like visits, top 30 visits. So, I mean, there's still a possibility. Like, Howell is definitely a wrench in the situation, but Penix Jr. to Seattle is still a possibility to me.
If I was them, I'd just move on from Geno Smith. I know he's decent, but
yeah,
you're not winning much with him. And Howell's young and is still one of the better backups in the league if he's your backup.
Yeah.
So
let me go over to Ron Navy real quick. I'm gonna wrap up the phone line here. Ron Navy, did you have a reaction to Bruce and his mother talking about this Houston Texan wide receiver room? And not one of these receivers, Diggs, Dell, or Nico, outscoring Dalton Schultz. I think you like Dalton Schultz. We all kind of do. Dalton was a moon man in a previous life here on the channel, so we like Dalton. Dalton's a pretty crafty tight end. He actually came on pretty strong with Stroud. Yeah. Good rapport, but that is the definition of bold, is it not, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what it's there for.
Couldn't said it.
That's why we call it bold predictions.
Great.
But what about? It wouldn't surprise me. You guys are talking about Seattle moves and Penix to Seattle and all this. I wouldn't be surprised if Bowers ends up in Seattle.
They'd have to trade up, though.
It's a new system. It's a new coach.
Who they got? They got.
He'd have to fall.
It's not out of the question, but they definitely have to trade up because Bowers is likely. John says JD5 headed to Chicago. I don't think so, John. There's like no evidence of that at all. Seattle would have to move into the top 9, 8. I think you never know where Bowers drops to, because again, it comes down to fit and I've seen drafts before where you're like, okay, this guy's the next best player, and then the team's like, well, we need this type of position. And then the next team says the same thing. The next team says the same thing. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I can't believe Bowers fell. Yep. But I don't think he gets past New York at 10. And I certainly don't think he gets past Indy at 15. So there's, like if for any reason the unthinkable happened, but because Bowers would, everybody would be talking about that. If he was still on the board, they'd be like, how is this guy still on the board? So Seattle would move to where? Like Chicago's 9 or something like that?
12. Oh, yeah. Unless the Jets pass on him and they jump up to 12.
Yeah, 9 would be the most safe place to maybe go get him. But even then, you don't know if New York will take him or the Chargers might take him at 5. I don't know. I could see on the clock the Seattle Seahawks, if you believe that's the landing spot, on the clock at 9 with Bowers still on the board, them calling Chicago and Chicago trading down. Because Chicago is toying around with trading down. They definitely are. but I don't know if Seattle I mean, it would be an interesting spot, Ron, I guess, but I don't really want him there. There's a lot of mouths to feed already.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we already need
We didn't want
JSN to get free.
Yeah, but we got him there.
Yeah. Well, let's not will this one to happen.
But, no, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if that, because Seattle's done that to us before.
Jelani Woods is a good tight end, but the Colts could say, use him in another capacity. Bring in Bowers. No quite. God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like if you like Pittman enough, and I'm definitely lower on Pittman than the average Bear, but I definitely feel like Bowers, Pittman, AR5, Taylor is dangerous as hell. And Downs, yeah, dangerous as and Alec Pierce. It's got Alec Pierce, and that's dangerous as hell.
I want to. I'm curious to see what Denver does. I feel like they could just sit and take someone, or part of me wonders if they trade back.
Ty Lee says, "Yo, Smitty, I know you love Jaden Daniels, but I've heard a lot of people of Jaden on their bust radar. Have Jaden on their bust radar? What are your thoughts on a build in taking hits in the NFL, as well as Justin Fields comp? I think Ty Lee, you're seeing him climb into the top 1 to 2 quarterbacks. So I think that whoever you're watching, you might want to stop and just continue watching this show, because I don't know who in their right mind is calling Jaden Daniels a bust at this point. This is something you heard a lot earlier.
But he's got video.
Yeah. Also, Ty Lee,
same guy that gave him the Burrow video.
Yeah. This is the same guy that thinks Burrow is unfigured out. But Ty Lee, Jaden Daniels, sit down before you hear this, because you're gonna be shocked. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's 6, bro. I'm 6'2". I admittedly and unfortunately weigh about 225 right now. I'm not happy about that, but he's 6'4", 210 pounds. Like if I get that at 210 and you're 24, you're actually pretty big considering you're 6'4". Like 210, he's a big boy, and the fact that there's film of linebackers like drilling him, that shouldn't shock you. Like you could go find footage of every quarterback getting hit by linebackers. This is catering to someone's prediction, cherry picking at video footage. What about cherry picking the 1,200 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns that Jaden Daniels had? You're watching somebody and taking somebody's dumb advice, Ty Lee, that says this man's getting rocked at the college level. Look at this cherry pick footage that I pulled out. When he had 1,200 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground last year, you're really going to talk about a guy getting taken advantage of because of his size when he had 1,200 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns last year? Oh, by the way, also had 40 passing touchdowns and only 4 interceptions and about 4,000 yards passing. Are we really going to cherry pick video footage on a 1,200-yard, 10-touchdown running back that plays quarterback and also plays it damn well? Ty Lee, go get your footage, and you might want to destroy it. Somebody gave you one of those April Fool's tapes, bro, and you're running with it. Ty Lee.
If anyone's going to say they have a concern about him running and stuff, like, the only thing I'd even put a little bit into is if you say, like, his running style, he doesn't know how to get down in time. But those are all coachable things. And those are all things that someone fixes. You know, you're going from college to the pros. It's completely different, you know. They'll fix that.
JD5 just screams elite talent. I've said it for a while, and it was bold at the time. I don't think it's even bold when people hear it now. And you know, I don't complain. This is what I do, and I know it comes with the territory. But when I used to say JD5 is going to be better than Lamar, I would get clown emojis in like comment sections. You know, like I'd do that on Twitter. Somebody post something like Schefter, and I'd be like, JD5 will be better than Lamar, and everyone's like, clown, blah blah blah. Like now, everyone acts like it's not crazy bold anymore. It's funny to be hit from both sides of a topic and experience both, extremes. But JD5 is becoming so many people's number one quarterback. It's so fortunate the Chicago Bears don't feel the same way. This is the exact same thing in Carolina. Carolina didn't feel the same way as a lot of teams that did think Stroud was better. And so everybody remembers that Bryce Young was the consensus one. He wasn't. He was very much teeter-tottering. Stroud was very much in the conversation. There was arguments. Even Ron loves Stroud. There's arguments everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere. This was not a Bryce Young locked and loaded situation. The Bears crapped the bed by not taking Stroud. Whether you want to argue that other teams would have done the same, it doesn't matter. When people say Ryan Poles did an amazing trade, Ryan Poles didn't do an amazing trade. He passed on CJ Stroud. Like, get it right.
Well, if you remember last year, Stroud was the front runner at first. And then the media started getting involved in pushing Bryce Young and this Bryce Young and that Bryce Young. And before you knew it, Bryce Young overtook him. And what they used that stupid test that they gave, and they used that to be able to jump Bryce Young up ahead of CJ Stroud. That's what happened last year. The media was all behind Bryce Young, and they pushed, and that caused Stroud to be pushed back. Thank God for Houston.
This is a report.
I got a question for you.
Hold on, real quickly. This report here, trending. Caleb Williams responded to an ESPN analyst, Greg McElroy, for saying that he has never experienced adversity before. Let's go back to school again because I'm bored right now. That was Caleb's response, I guess. Adversity, a state or instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune. I'm just reading this as it comes in. Didn't start freshman year. Popped a hammy. Championship game first quarter. Lost because of the hammy. 7-5 my last year of college ball. I guess that's him responding. I don't know. But anyways, the problem for Caleb is that he's creating this world of circling doubt, constant poking, and if anybody thinks it's going to get better, it's only going to get worse. There's going to be meme city coming out on Caleb, and if Caleb can't handle the pressure, and I don't think he can very well. I know some people, like Bears fans, like to be like, he's responded great on that. Caleb shouldn't be responding at all. Caleb shouldn't even be creating situations where people are saying stuff that he has to respond to. JD5 is going to be all about business. And if someone comes at him in a comment, he's not even reading it because he's out there working. Caleb is actually going to be the type of quarterback that's all over looking at that stuff and responding to it. And Caleb's Hollywood. Caleb's all about the flashy Hollywood splash and the Chicago Bear defensive players. A couple of them even already came out saying, don't bring that Hollywood stuff to the locker room. Because you're in the pros, big boy. You're in the pros and you got nothing you're bringing to the table yet. Don't start clapping back at ESPN reporters. Go prove it. This guy's got bus written all over him. He's got bus written. There's so many red flags here. And he's being cultivated by an organization that continues to fail quarterbacks, so much so that people think that Fields is a bust right now.
There's two things. Compare Caleb Williams to, or say who he's like. He could possibly be the next Colin Kaepernick, and he's so Hollywood. If you remember when Baker first came out, right? Remember, he was all over the TV. He's this ad, that ad, every ad, whichever. But once that went away, he settled down and he's progressively become a better quarterback. Caleb's going to be, all he cares about is going over the TV and making his little things and this and that. He's running into the same thing that Baker did when he first came in. But he's got more drama than Baker. That's why I also compare him to Colin Kaepernick.
I predict that Caleb, once he gets into the NFL and a team commits to him like the Bears, he's going to start getting worse because he's not going to have the pressure of don't do this yet. Once he's in there and he feels like I don't need an agent to tell me what to do anymore. I don't need I'm not getting this draft consultant type, hey, how do I become the number one? How do I get the bag? How do I get the number one overall pick? Once he gets it, he's going to start making his own decisions, and we're going to start seeing how immature he is. Because right now we feel he's immature, but we're about to see it get unlocked. This guy's going to go. This is the kind of guy that I could see completely saying, this is how I'm going to express myself, reacting to all this. And this might be the first TikToker, QB that documents everything.
But then again, what's that continually say about Chicago's upper management? They're not very good.
No, they're not. They're not, and they continue to fail at developing quarterbacks. It is not some sort of short-term trend.
They were good.
This is historically what they do. Chicago gave up on Fields when they could have had Fields. Marvin Harrison Jr. still had the 9 pick. You have Fields, Marvin Harrison Jr., and you could have even traded down to the 4 pick or the 3 pick and really, really maximize the 9 pick or something else. This organization didn't see the value in who half the fan base wanted. Fields at quarterback, bring in Kingsbury or somebody that knows what they're doing, and step back and let somebody try and fix the situation. Fields, Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and I would have brought in a different RB than Swift for what they need to do and what they want to do. But good God, man, what a debacle! Everybody keeps acting like Poles is some mastermind.
That brought in Trubisky, number 1 pick overall. Trubisky. Look at that draft class. Look what they gave up. And they picked Trubisky 1 overall.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Caleb's so busting. He is so busting. The only thing that could make him not bust fantasy wise, but he still think he's gonna bust, but Fields busted in Chicago. Let's not dance around it. Fields busted in Chicago. But the question is, was it his fault, and did he get out enough, which is what we wanted. We wanted him to get out and save himself, and Pittsburgh's going to save him. Caleb gets Neighbors or a Dunze, then fantasy-wise, he'll probably produce some decent, he'll at least deliver the ball. But, I don't know if Chicago's smart enough to know they need that. Right now they got DJ Moore, they've got Keenan Allen. I think they're looking at, feeling like they're pretty loaded at wide receiver. We'll see if they understand what time it is and how much Caleb's going to need that actual long-term threat if they're there. If Adunze's there and you pass on them, that's asinine.
They might do.
$2 hauler, your top 5 or 6 dynasty rookie draft this year. Top 5 or 6 dynasty rookie draft. Superflex is going to be loaded with quarterbacks. Personally, for me, though, in normal settings, it is JD5 in there with Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors, and Adunze. But I've always told people my Superflex rankings are different than most people's because I do not put myself in a position where I'm needing that Superflex quarterback as badly because I have a Mahomes. I'm a big quarterback advocate, and I always have been, always will be. So my rankings will be in parallel with that kind of thinking. So for me, it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., Neighbors, Adunze, JD5, and then Bowers, and then Penix Jr. So, but in non-Superflex, it would be the 3 wide receivers, Bowers, and then probably going to be JD5 or the top running back, whoever, wherever that running back lands, or Brian Thomas Jr., and then the running back. But Bowers would be after the big 3 wide receivers. And my order would be Marvin Harrison Jr., Adunze, Neighbors, if I had to force it right now. I really love Adunze. All right, hey, boys, I got to get going here. Ron, final thoughts. You were about to say something, so go ahead. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I was about to...
Thank you, Tristan.
I don't know what happened to that thing. That was weird.
The what?
I don't have my chat thing. I can't type in the chat.
Close it or swipe it out, get it, close it, and then come back to it. I'm sure it'll be fine. You do that, Ron. I'll go over to.
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
My isn't the Chicago's backup quarterback last year and probably be this year's Behringer, right?
It was the rookie, right? Was he a rookie last year?
Yeah.
This year,
his name.
This year it's
What
going to
was
be
his name?
Rippin.
Behringer?
Rippin. Oh, Badgett. I'm sorry, Badgett. Tyson Badgett.
Yeah.
Badgett.
Not Behringer.
Yes, that's it.
How do you spell that?
Bagent.
Yep.
That's right, Badgett. Yeah. The Bagent, everybody says it a little different. What about it, Ron?
What about it?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, is Ron going to put a bold... Hey, Ron's putting a bold prediction that Badgett takes over the starting... Bro, I know he's going to do it. Top $50 hauler. Bold prediction coming in strong.
That's why
sense
he needs a chat. Yep.
He's dropping
He's
dropping a Bagent prediction. Doesn't even know his name, and he's still throwing a $50 wad on screen like a monster. Ron is 4-9. I'm already predicting Ron Navy.
There it is.
4-9. Ron Navy coming in strong with a $50 hauler. Hadget doesn't even matter. He doesn't even give Hadget, Bagent the respect he deserves. He's still predicting it. Will end up starting more games than Caleb.
Could be anybody.
Bagent more starts than Caleb.
I like that.
I like that,
bold
Ron.
prediction.
I like that. That's a
true bold prediction.
That's a bold prediction. You know, Ron, you could even win that if it ends up being like a combination of other quarterbacks start more than Caleb.
I would say just anybody. Yeah.
Oh man. You know what I love is there's not a whole lot of Caleb supporters in this chat, or at least they stay quiet. And you guys don't have to. You can be vocal about it. But
they should let it be heard.
But in the comments later, that's when they come out and say, "Smitty, you're gonna be sorry." Caleb's
Yeah, I got a couple, but you know what I meant.
You what, Ron?
The B. I got a couple typos in there.
That's right. Yeah, no, I got it up there. I got it up there. So today we've got a number of super chats. We got Superfish, Jonu Smith, top 5 tight end. That one's crazy. I like that one. Jonu, I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but it's bold as hell. D-Town Lions win the Super Bowl. Calvin Krim says rookie QB wins the Super Bowl. And Ron Navy says Bagent starts more games than Caleb. Woo! Woo! Doggy! Matto, as a Bears fan, Caleb is not it. Did you ever support Caleb? Like, didn't we argue back and forth? Maybe not. Maybe Matto's been there the whole time. I don't know. But
I think he wanted to keep Fields.
Ty Lee's in here talking up Caleb. Ty Lee, drop a $50 bold prediction. Put it on the board. Be the winner of the bold prediction. And Ty Lee, this is right up your alley. If you win it, you're going to co-host the first 30 minutes of the show with me side by side on the screen. So if this is your chance, Ty Lee, bring the Burrow tape to it. Yeah, you can win this. You can win this. Who wants to co-host the show with me? Side by side on video, or we can just have a picture and on the phone. Ty Lee, co-hosting with Smitty for a show. Winner, chicken dinner. Come in, drop your Caleb bold prediction. Or anybody dropping a pro Caleb prediction against some of these bold ones back behind me. All right, boys, I'll be back later. I think I'm going to be going live on the Dak Prescott news, or potentially excuse me. I think I'm going to go live on this Dak Prescott news, but there's also something else I was going to potentially go live on a little bit later on. It might be a dual show on these two different things. Where is it? I don't know. There was something else that I was going to go live on. Let me see if I can
I
find
have
it.
one quick question, Smitty.
Go ahead, Brucey.
Then I'll let you go.
Yeah, Brucey's final thoughts.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
think that Harbaugh's keeping it secret, that he's kind of like, but he went to the owner and the GM and he was kind of like, look, I know you guys like Herbert. I don't. I want my guy. And he drafts McCarthy and then puts Herbert on the block.
This is a small percentage, but it's a big enough percentage that it should at least like shock you, But I'd say like 7%. But like that's still a possibility. But he's also made comments, and I don't think Harbaugh's the lying type. He's a pretty straight shooter in terms of what he's thinking, and he likes that. I respect it about him. But he said some comments like, we've got a quarterback here, we're gonna get to work. Like I don't anticipate him throwing a curveball into the mix here, unless Minnesota, which I haven't heard a single word about Minnesota trying to acquire Herbert, and they really should be trying. If an offer comes that a coach and an organization and a GM, especially, if let's say this is like maybe not out of Harbaugh's hands, I'm sure Harbaugh's got a lot of control he negotiated in, because he could ask for the world. I'm sure he said, I get to make all decisions, or I'm not coming. I'm sure he said that. But let's say there's a little bit out of his control on that trade or something, then you never know. That's why I put in a little percentage, but he probably has full control. And I don't think there's anything. The Minnesota Vikings would literally have to come and say, we'll give you the 11, the 23, and a 2025 first rounder, and a conditional second that turns into another first rounder, potentially 4 first rounders if we make the Super Bowl or something like that. But you will get 3 first rounders. Like, then I could see the Chargers going, shit.
Did that happen on draft day?
Yeah, if it happens, it'll be a draft day move because it has
Los Angeles Chargers.
The reason
trade the Minnesota Vikings, the 5th round for the Vikings, the 11th, the 23,
future first,
Justin Herbert.
No, and a future first, yeah,
and a future first.
Yeah, there'd have to be 3 first rounders minimum. But if let's say if let's say this happened though, Ron, it has to be on the clock though, because JJM could be taken before 5. So there's no way. But I would say 5% chance.
Wouldn't that be something? I think we're in for a hell of a draft. A lot of moving around, not just in the first round, but in the round. I think it's going to be like one of those years that we had a couple years ago where everybody was moving around. But I think it possibly could be the biggest moving draft that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah. There's also like Prime saying there's dead cap issues that almost make it almost an impossibility. But we've seen crazy things happen. That's all we're gonna say.
Well, and the good thing with Herbert is he's already signed.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have to worry about doing anything like that.
It's like a 5% chance, and it'd have to be it would be unthinkable to happen. But anyway, it's fun to kick around. Like Bruce asked me the question, I'd say very minimal chance, 7%, only because you just don't know Harbaugh. You just don't know what in the hell. But a lot of reasons why it wouldn't go down. All right, Bruce, we'll see you later, pal.
All right, see you later.
Bruce to the moon. Jack of all trades, final thoughts, go.
All I have to say, I learned so much just from listening to everybody, and I think it's the greatest show on YouTube for sure.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate you. We'll see you later, bro. Call in more.
Yep.
Later.
Okay. Thank you.
Ron Navy, final thoughts, final stabs at Caleb Williams.
No,
what do you got?
I think that's it.
All right, bro.
I made my bold prediction. I'm good.
All right, Travis, final thoughts, Travis.
No, I was just going to ask. I don't think there really is, but Aside from like, if JJ McCarthy fell out of the top 10 or something, which I don't even see that happening now. Are there any players in this first round that you could see, really jumping up or falling like 10 spots or something? Because every year it seems like there is, but aside from, one of the second tier quarterbacks or something, I don't know.
Bo Nix maybe.
See that this year.
Bo Nix maybe.
Right.
Bowers, no. Adunze, no. He's climbing. Penix Jr.'s climbing. JJ McCarthy's
Seems
got
like
too
most
much
of these
hype.
guys are pretty set within their like 5 to 8 pick range.
No,
right?
not
a lot of these guys.
Not feeling much other than Bo Nix maybe.
So the surprises may come from teams that trade up, like said a Buffalo, or if Denver decide to trade out and someone jumps up to 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, Chicago, all that. So, all right, yeah, cool.
All right,
if you're on later, I'll call back in.
All right, later, Ron. Later, Travis. We'll see you both later. It's Ricky. It's Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, Smitty. Just have a quick question. I don't want to take too much time. I'm in a startup dynasty right now, and I won the lottery to pretty much decide what slot to pick from. It's a third round reversal, so I'm thinking somewhere in the top 5. But since it's a third round reversal, maybe in the 5th slot, since I'm pretty high on the top 5 quarterbacks, being Allen, Mahomes, Stroud, who else would be in there? Lamar.
So it's a super flex third round reversal.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, man, that sucks because that is a tough spot to be in. It really is, because I always prefer to have a
the
top,
regular snakes.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying like the top 5 pick or whatever if I'm given the choice. But if you're talking about having this pick here, and this pick here, so the 11 or the 12, 13, and then the 3.1, right? If you take the 12.
Yeah, it's a 12-team. It's a 12-teamer.
That's a tough one because there's so many good quarterbacks that you could literally probably get AR5 and potentially still get like Bijan, or you could go AR5 and still get like a JJ. You could get AR5 and maybe another QB that is like right there with him. Burrow. It's tough to say. I don't really know if it's going to go straight quarterback, because some Superflex drafts where only 5 or 6 QBs go in the top 10, and other ones it's all 10 of them are quarterbacks. So it just kind of depends. Is this 16 or 12?
It's a 12-team.
12-team.
Start.
Yeah, I would say that it's hard. I'd be hard pressed to. Yeah, but then if you pick the middle of the pack, you definitely rise that third rounder up. Yeah, because third round reversal, you're literally doesn't really change much.
Because I guess what I could do is also go like heavy, because it's 3 wide receivers.
Yeah.
So because I'd be comfortable with even like Jordan Love and Kyler later on, assuming they don't go in the first 2 rounds. And since we have the kicker option to replace the rookie draft, I could aim for a JD in the rookie draft later on.
I might go for it. Final answer, I might say I think you're going to be happy enough with this player here, this non-quarterback at this third round selection. You might get like Achane or somebody because of the quarterbacks forcing everybody down. I think I'd be okay with middle of the pack. That way your third round reversal is really not impacting you, and you kind of go middle of the draft the entire way, because third round reversal of the middle of the draft is just essentially 1 pick different.
I guess in that case, I'd probably maybe go with like the 7-6 slot, right? Maybe 7, just on the reversal part.
No, I think I'd go 5. I think I'd go 5 or 6.
Who would you try to aim for? Would you try to go like maybe if Lamar was to fall down?
I'd want so if Stroud. Let's see, because if I'm not getting one of those top 5, I'll go 5. I'd go top 5 because I would want you'd have Mahomes, Hurts, Josh Allen, Stroud, and man, I almost want to say like you might get lucky and get one of those guys at that 5. I think I'd probably go 5.
5 slot, yeah. I mean, any of the top 5 I'd be happy with, and I guess you don't have to wait as long.
Yeah. But it is interesting to talk about, like, if you get an AR5 down here, and then you're able to get, like, the best non-QB you want, or just go double AR5 type players, and then you get this pick right here. But the only problem is you're getting, let's see here. Well, I mean, you're gonna have that 4.12. That's a pretty nice. That's drafting at number 12 is pretty nice. It'd either be 12 or 5 for me. I either go 12 or 5. I don't know. Let me think about it. That's a good question. If anybody in the chat has their preference on the third round reversal is ridiculous because everything's the same except for the third round is reversed, and it's a way to try and give power back to the person that drafts at 12. So it really does. It does create that function, right? Third round reversal makes the 12 pick a lot more attractive.
It's the first time I'm doing it too.
Who do you think you get at quarterback at 12?
I mean, the thing is that I don't really know how these people draft. I only know 2 of my buddies. The rest are friends of friends. So I have no idea how they draft.
Damn, man. Yeah. I don't know. 12 or 5. I pick one of those. But 12 would be fun. If you think that the quarterbacks, you get an AR5, I would take the 12 pick. All right, hey.
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it to heads or tails on this one. But I appreciate it so much. Smitty.
Yeah, well, hey, look at the chat. 12 or 5. Pick a third round reversal draft slot, super flex, guys. 12 or 5. All right, Ricky, appreciate you calling later.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. Appreciate all my super chatters. You guys absolutely rock. Ron Navy dropping that massive $50 hauler. We had Calvin Krim with the $50 hauler, D-Town with the $50 hauler, Superfish with the $50 hauler, Ron Navy, Say Word, Calvin Krim, and Tristan with additional super chats. You guys are absolute monsters. Top 7 rookies on the board here. Fantasy Football Monsters going live later, probably on Dak Prescott and something else. I'll see you guys tonight. Breaking news show, emergency live stream tonight on Dak Prescott, and the fact that there's rumors and there's different things going on that the Cowboys might be looking at a rookie quarterback, which fuels more. Could Dak Prescott get traded? Rumors that people want to say isn't possible, but it certainly is. See you all on the emergency live stream tonight. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, live when big news breaks. Like tonight, when we go live, appreciate you all. Hit that code, Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100 using code Smitty. Link is dropped in the live chat this very second. Here it is. Boom, boom. There it is. Do it live. Appreciate you all. See you tonight.